30 seconds.
Roger.
20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Roll's completed.
Roger, roll complete.
There goes the pitch.
Roger, pitch. You're on your way, Molly Brown.
Yeah, man.
We're a little bit high on the flight path, but no problem, Molly Brown.
Okay, Molly Brown's go for staging.
Roger, looks good from here.
Roger. Program update received.
Roger, update.
Okay, there was staging.
Roger, stage.
And we're thrusting.
Okay, thrust looks good from here.
Show full scale round to there. Okay, we're starting to steer. The horizon's got right in view.
Roger.
Our DS is go.
Looks good from here.
Oh man, look at that.
Steering is good from here.
Stand by to copy 2-1.
Roger.
Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger, copy Delta V 139. GMTRC 155547. GETRC 013147. Roll left 55. GMTRB 160531. Roll right 65.
Roger.
Now can I read Capcom? Go ahead. Roger, your Texas burn will be 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. Okay, 48 feet per second for 73 seconds. So far we got your TR and Gemini load in. Your clocks look good on the ground. Everything's go here. See you next trip.
Molly Brown, Cape Capcom.
Go, Cape Capcom.
Look better from there than on a ballistic flight?
Say again?
Does it look better from there than on a ballistic flight?
I can't read the girl.
Roger, how do it look?
It looks great.
Right.
Carnarvon, Capcom, K-Flight.
This is Carnarvon, go ahead.
Ask him if any of the things we asked him to try did anything with the control system. I'm not concerned about it, just want to know how it acted. As far as we're concerned, he's go for the second orbit.
You still got a blood pressure, John? We didn't read it.
Hey, sir, okay, I'll give you another one.
Okay. Just wonder if he was breathing. Pretty spectacular up there, huh?
Say again?
Pretty spectacular up there, huh?
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
RKV from Cape Flight.
Cape Flight RKV, Capcom.
Roger, you are prime for retro.
Roger, understand.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Beep, boop, beep, boop. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, 7:28 p.m., February something, and I am going to be hanging out with you guys for probably about an hour. Let me take a quick sip of the old Bob's Burgers coffee. All right, cool. So yeah, topic of conversation tonight is, what do you want for the future of Star Wars? I know everybody, I mean, no two answers are the same, right? Everybody, if there's one thing that's true, Star Wars is different for everybody, right? We all have our preferences, what we like, what we don't like. So that is the topic of conversation tonight. And I gotta say, Levi Gutierrez, Carter Lovejoy, Caleb Kemp, and Vince Wynn, thank you guys so much for coming in with the first super chats of the stream before the stream even technically began. Before you even heard my voice, I appreciate the hell out of that, guys. So, yeah, topic of conversation, what do you guys want for the future of Star Wars? I am all ears. Have some conversations in the chat. And as always, have fun. So, what's new? As I said, no videos probably for the rest of the week, unless some news comes out. I'm making videos right now and kind of hoarding them for next week. That's my plan. We're going out of town on Wednesday, from Wednesday to Monday. And we're going to be out of town, so I'm hoping to get 4 or 5 videos packed in there and have something each day uploading while I'm out of town, so there's no kind of dead air, right? So, anyway, welcome, guys. Levi Gutierrez coming in with the first super chat, channel support. Let's see. Levi says, I wanted to be good. Actually good. Yeah, well, obviously everybody wants it to be good. That's super subjective, right? I thought The Last Jedi was good. I liked it. The more I watch it, the more I like it. The Rise of Skywalker left me with a sour taste in my mouth, and it actually made me appreciate The Last Jedi even more. A whole shitload of people would disagree with that. Understandably so. I get it. So, yeah, we all want it to actually be good, right? But I appreciate that, Levi. I don't know if that's a statement about modern Star Wars or not, or if you just want it to be good and you actually like the newer stuff. Either way, it's kind of hard to disagree with that, right? But yeah, I appreciate that, man. And Carter Lovejoy for the fandom minutes to end. It's not to end. Let's not say that. It's like any other group, right? And I've made videos about groups, and I've talked about groups before. I don't like being a part of an ideological group. I don't like lumping myself in with a group that has. And this is not about that group particularly. To tell you the truth, it's like Raylos to me. I don't know much about it. I'm a fucking dad now, and I don't have time to investigate all this dumb shit that floats around on the internet with all this divisive nonsense. That being said, it's best to kind of, in my opinion, I've never been one for ideological groups. As maybe, I don't know, as nice as they try to be, and this, once again, this isn't about this particular group, it's about groups in general. The group is always viewed from the outside of the group as being front and center the worst of the apples in the group, right? So, I don't want anything to end, but I always tell people to, proceed with caution whenever you want to lump yourself in with some kind of ideological group, whether that's political parties or some other kind of groups that have ideological bents or whatnot. Not even Star Wars, but just in life, right? So, anyway, I appreciate that, Carter. And Caleb Kemp, hello there, right back to you, Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Caleb, it's good to see you, man. As always, I appreciate the hell out of that, and I hope you're having a good week so far. We got one day until the weekend. Hopefully, you got the weekend off. And hopefully, that sounds like what my daughter would say. Hopefully, you got some fun stuff planned. But I appreciate that, Caleb. Okay, Vince Wynn has been on a roll with recommending stuff lately to everybody in the chat and whatnot. Vince comes in with, y'all gotta play Darksiders 2, 2012. I've never played any of those. I vaguely know about them just because people constantly say it's some of the most difficult like hack and slash gameplay out there, right? As far as I've been told. And to tell you the truth, like I would probably enjoy it. I'd probably suck at it, but like looking at it and judging it just from visuals alone, it looks like something that I probably wouldn't be that into. I don't know. Fantasy games like that. Once again, I'm speaking out of turn because I really don't know much about it. Fantasy games often, unless it's like a Skyrim or something like that, or a Diablo. I've never played Witcher. You know, there's a whole host of games that I've never played because it takes me a little bit to get into them, or I need to be interested in them before I play them for whatever reason. I don't know why. Fantasy games are a little hard for me to get into unless I've already been immersed in the world for a while, you know. But yeah. And Vince also says we got to see The Burbs. Let me Google that. I can picture. Isn't the guy? Oh, what's his name? Before I Google it, what's his name? Shit. What's his name? He was a child actor. Oh, that's gonna bother me. Let me look this up real quick. The Burbs. Corey Feldman. That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, I've never seen this. At least I don't think I have. I'm vaguely familiar with it just by being alive and, you know, growing up in the 90s. I know for a fact I've never seen this movie, but it looks like a lighthearted, fun little Tom Hanks thing in the late 80s, right? I dig it. But I appreciate that, Vince. And Vince also says we have to watch all Johnny Quest's 1964 Johnny Quest. Yes, I've seen all of that. I grew up on that stuff, man. The Hanna-Barbera stuff, Johnny Quest, 1964. Let's see. I don't think it had a long run, right? Okay, so... Oh, wow, it's a lot shorter than I originally thought. It first aired in 1964 in September, and the last episode that ever aired, at least in this run, was in March of 1965. Interesting. So yeah, I grew up on that stuff, man. I grew up on those old cartoons. I grew up on Looney Tunes. I grew up on, you know, Bullwinkle, or yeah, all that shit. Johnny Quest, Race Bannon, that whole host of characters. Dr. Quest, yeah, gotta love it. It's a fun show for sure. But I appreciate that, Vince. And Vince says, once again, imagine in the Star Wars Red Dead Redemption Bounty Hunter game using the gauntlet cable to tie up bounties instead of the lasso. I gotta go, guys. Bye. Take it easy, man. Yeah, and not only, you know, Red Dead Redemption Bounty Hunter game, awesome. I love that idea. I want that game set in the Star Wars universe, right? I can visualize that, Vince. I can picture being a bounty hunter and going out hunting your bounties and tying them up with that. Something like that would just be a dream, right? Throwing them in the back of your speeder or swoop bike or something like that. And yeah, it's just an absolute dream game for me. I mean, we can just kind of talk about this dream game forever and ever. I'm crossing my fingers that it'll eventually happen. It seems like such a no-brainer of an idea. It seems, you know, obviously Jedi Fallen Order, if you guys have played it, I hope you liked it. I loved it. It's my favorite single-player Star Wars game when I wipe away the nostalgia off my eyes, right? That being said, it's a very different type of game than I originally would have wanted. My number one game right now in the Star Wars universe would be an open world kind of Skyrim, Red Dead style, Fallout style game. And the idea of being a bounty hunter in a game like that, tying up bounties across the galaxy, hopping from planet to planet. I can't think of I can't think of a more appealing game to me set in the Star Wars universe right now, But yeah. But I appreciate that, Vince. And JX Editor, what's going on, man? Long time no see. JX says, the classic JX Editor line, Kite Man, a Star Wars story. Hell yeah. So for those of you who have no idea what the hell JX is talking about, Kite Man is a villain set in... okay, I just looked him up. His first appearance was in Batman 133 from August 1960. And in other media, he appeared... Batman, an animated TV series. But yeah, long story short, JX, whenever he pops on here, he always says Kite Man, hell yeah. So Kite Man, if everybody could do me a big favor in the chat, just to get things revved up, just to make, just to put a big dumb smile on JX's face, can you say Kite Man, hell yeah in the chat? I sure would appreciate it. But yeah, thanks, man. Vince Wynn, thank you once again. Didn't read the question. The thing I want is restraint. I'm with you. I know what you mean by that. Restraint. I've talked about this a lot. Holding back movies, being patient with things, right? I don't want a Star Wars movie every year. Sure, it would be great for the channel, right? But I would rather have that build up, that anticipation every 3 years, every 5 years, We just got done with a trilogy. Let's wait. Let's wait a little bit. Let's wait 5 longer years even. I don't want this to be like Marvel. Star Wars has a long history of anticipation and playing that waiting game, right? So yeah, restraint is important because Star Wars is more fragile. Because Marvel kind of set the tone for this, like, pumping out of movies over and over and over again, multiple movies a year. It started out that way. We expect that from that. But with Star Wars, it's different. It's different. And maybe me saying that is maybe an old school mentality. The kids that are watching the new ones for the first time, growing up with them, that, they have a frequent set of movies every year so far, at least. That could all change. But for me, I like that patience. I like that anticipation. I like that build up. And I would rather have that than a movie every year and maybe people losing a bit of interest in it, The bread and butter, I don't care how many TV shows they put out. I mean, pump out TV shows left and right if you want to, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. Good God, guys. I appreciate the hell out of the channel support this evening. I'm super long-winded, so we got Thornton, Doki, Mr. Tony, Jared Rose, Levi Gutierrez, Matt Fernandez, Hero of Sound, Christian Jet, Squad, Caleb Kemp, Jared Rose, and JX. I appreciate that, guys. And I appreciate the patience as well, because I am a long-winded son of a bitch. Thornton Wager, good to see you, man. Let me take a quick sip of the old water. All right. Thornton says, I like the fact that Mandos are more popular than Jedi now. Let's keep that ball rolling. Yeah. I guess the popularity of certain things will ebb and flow depending on the success of shows and movies and games and whatnot. For me, Thornton, I was never the biggest, like, Mando fan. Even watching the Clone Wars, even then, it is interesting that people love Mandalorians now. They've always been a kind of a fan favorite here and there, peppered into the fandom. But it's interesting that you say that they're more popular than Jedi now, because for me, and I've said this so many times, but for me, when I think of Star Wars, I don't necessarily think of Jedi. I don't necessarily think of the Force. The things that pop into my mind when I think of Star Wars are bounty hunters, are smugglers. Yeah, it is the Mos Eisley Cantina. It's X-wings and the kind of the tangible physical world of it all. That used and abused world that we all know and love. That's what I think of when I think of Star Wars. That's kind of my, world of Star Wars. But let's keep that ball rolling. Sure, why not? Let's explore more of the seedy underbelly. I am all for it, but I appreciate that, Thornton. And Doki W, I apologize, man. That was a slip of the tongue. Doki W, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. I'd want a new approach in the likes of darker themes with blurred lines between light and dark. I can't wait for Ryan's trilogy if that's still a thing. As far as I know, as far as everybody knows and the news goes, it's still a go. Interviewers and whatnot always ask him about it, and he says, yeah, it's still a thing. So hopefully it is, and I have no reason to doubt that it is not. So, sorry guys, I literally finished dinner, ran up here, so digestion. So I completely agree. I like, as much as I like kind of the black and white, good and evil characteristics of a lot of Star Wars stuff, there is space for the gray area. The gray area can be seen heavily in like a show like the Clone Wars, and it's done really well, right? So I would absolutely love to see more of that kind of explored. It was explored in The Last Jedi. It's explored depending on interpretation in most Star Wars, but what I would really love in that same kind of vein, Doki, would be like a political drama, a political show or a trilogy or something like that isn't necessarily all boom boom bang bang, but has a lot of like vying for power and political posturing. We could follow certain people around the Republic, and it would almost be like a West Wing Game of Thrones kind of thing, where people are trying to pull strings and manipulate the populace or other members of the Senate. Something like that would be really interesting, and that would a show or a movie like that would definitely blur the lines for sure. But you said a new approach. I am up for any. There is no one way Star Wars has to be. I vehemently disagree with that. There's no one way Star Wars has to feel, especially now that we know we're getting a lot of Star Wars, right? I don't want everything to be blasters and lightsabers. They're going to have to get weird with it. I mean, somebody a while ago said, let's make a detective Star Wars movie. Yes, let's make that. Please, let's make that. So, anyway. I appreciate that, Doki. And Mr. Tony, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening as well. Mr. Tony says, a live-action standalone movie set during the Clone Wars. That would no doubt be a... I'm sure most people would kind of agree with that sentiment, right? Something that like that. If you took a poll, I'm sure a lot of people would say, yes, make that. Yes, make that. For me, though, Tony, and I might disagree with you here a little bit. Sorry, guys. The idea of making a live-action movie or even show or standalone movie, as you put it, set in the Clone Wars, it would not be my first choice. We have a lot of context, we have a lot of content for that era, in the Clone Wars show. So, and I'm happy with that. If they never explore that era again, that timeline after the Clone Wars Season 7 finishes, I'm fine with it. We have a chunk of context for this time period, and I'm happy with that. To make a movie, kind of I don't know, nailed in there, shoved in there at some point during all the rumblings of the Clone Wars. You know, sure, maybe it would be great, but that era has been exhausted over 7 seasons. Will be 7 seasons. And I'm completely happy with leaving it at that, you know. I would rather them focus on eras that we're not familiar with whatsoever, with characters that we're not familiar with whatsoever. But that's just me. So, I completely, dude, if I grew up watching, Tony, if I grew up watching the Clone Wars and that was my Star Wars, that would probably be my answer too, right? I had no qualms. I had no problems with them making like a solo movie. I wasn't jumping for joy when I found out that they were making it, just because I wanted something different. Same with Rogue One. I didn't have any issue with them making, you know, something set right before A New Hope. That's because I grew up with these characters, and, you know, that's kind of my era of Star Wars. So if I grew up with the Clone Wars and that was my era of Star Wars, then I would probably be like 2 thumbs up. Let's go. Let's kick the tires and light the fires for a Clone Wars live action standalone movie. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Tony. And Jared Rose, thank you so much as well for the channel support. Loved your Zelda concept for a Star Wars game. Thumbs up, dude. When I saw that that concept art, man, I sat back and I was like, I was just staring at it. You know, we all saw the concept art that leaked for Duel of the Fates, Colin Trevorrow's stuff. More so than any of the other concept art, that just hit me in a different spot. It was different looking too, right? I don't know. I believe maybe it was a different artist. I don't know, but than a lot of the other ones. But it looked like a screenshot of a video game, and it reminded me of Zelda. So it didn't use much brain power to think about that idea, right, Jared? Oh, look, a Star Wars piece of concept art that kind of looks like a Zelda screenshot with Rey and BB-8. Okay, let's make this happen. But yeah, man. I would love for something like that, you know. Something fun and adventurous, where you can roam freely, would be fantastic. Jared, I tweeted that out, and then for the past, I tweeted that out before I made the video. Did I upload the video yesterday? I think I did. But for the past couple days, I've been looking on eBay and whatnot for a copy of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. I don't have a Switch. I have a Wii U. And I've been wanting to get it lately. Because of that screenshot, I just have this itch to play it. I've never played it. I've heard it's fantastic. And we're going out of town next week for about a week. So maybe I'll buy it when we get back in town. Anyway. I appreciate that, man. Thanks, Jared. And Levi Gutierrez, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Star Wars needs politics, but I don't like the propaganda. Get a president that just wants to tell good stories, not promote a hidden agenda. Not a big fan of woke films, but I guess that's our Vietnam. See, I'm usually pretty good at kind of noticing when things get preachy. I have not felt that the sequel trilogy is preachy. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. And it's not because of any kind of agreement or appeasement. It's just I don't really see it. You kind of gotta have to play a little ping pong in your brain to fish up a lot of the stuff that people are complaining about, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree. Star Wars politics, real life inspiration, dude. The Clone Wars is chock full of so much shit. Examples of proxy wars and meddling in other people's affairs, and hubris and tactical decisions. It is, there's so much inspiration from real world politics, real world a war, I guess, that, you know, when I watch something like that as a 33-year-old guy, and I see all the parallels And even with the prequels, you see the parallel. I mean, dude, some of the stuff that Anakin said is verbatim of what George Bush was saying, you know, in the early 2000s. There's a character that's named after Newt Gingrich, you know. You want to talk about overt? A lot of that stuff is way more overt than the modern stuff, in my opinion. But, you know, I agree. Taking inspiration from the real world is important, and there's allegories there, there's stories to tell, there's lessons to learn, there's, you know, the moral of stories. I just don't really feel that. With modern Star Wars, to almost to where I feel like it's void of it, and I wish there was more of it, you know. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Vietnam War heavily inspired the A New Hope for sure. Lucas is quoted as saying that Nixon was the emperor. It's like, you know, it's whatever. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Levi. Let's see. Matthew Fernandez, thank you so much for the channel support as well, man. What I hope to see from future Star Wars projects is an actual plan from start to finish. The sequel trilogy, more or less, felt like they were winging it through each movie. Yeah, you know, Matt, I did not feel that way until we got to The Rise of Skywalker. I didn't feel that way. The cohesion between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi felt very solid to me. I like those two films back to back. I like the creative decisions that were taken in The Last Jedi. I like the continuation. But when we got to The Rise of Skywalker, what your sentiment right there about, you know, needing a plan from start to finish, it felt like they were winging it through each movie. When we got to The Rise of Skywalker, I felt that way as well. I kind of was like, what? Whoa, what? Yeah, but Last Jedi didn't leave them with anything. What are you talking about? There's endless possibilities. Your writers, that's what these people do. Endless possibilities of where they could have taken this that was not bringing Palpatine back, right? So when Palpatine came back, that is when I kind of started feeling like, oh, this third film kind of feels like pretty unimaginative and not a cohesive continuation of things prior, if that makes sense. But, you know, so yeah, a plan would be nice. A plan would be nice. But so hopefully, if in future trilogies, maybe I don't know. And maybe that was the plan the whole time, right? Maybe, as you said, it feels that way. It felt like they were winging it. Maybe it was the plan the whole time, but it certainly, the third film in this trilogy did not, to me, feel like a continuation. It felt more like a, I don't know, a hard turn. I don't know. But yeah, I appreciate that, Matt. And Hero of Sound, thank you so much as well for the channel support this evening. I don't know if you meant to type a little message in there or not, or if you wanted to be the silent supporter. I appreciate it all the same. Thank you so much, Hero of Sound. And Christian Jet, thank you so much as well. Christian says, my first super chat. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. What will Star Wars be like in 2077 when it turns 100 years old? Dead, alive, and well? Will we finally have the theatrical OT? Yeah, we will have the theatrical OT, but I don't know if it'll be official release, right? Maybe Harmy's Despecialized Edition is just going to be the last great, or the last gasping breath forever and ever of the non-special edition films, right? So what will Star Wars be like in 100 years? That is a way more interesting question, Jet, than it might sound. Because where my brain goes with this is, at current moment, we don't really have any franchises. I mean, sure, you got like Dracula and things like that, but there's no like living, breathing franchises that have continued for 100 years from the year 1920 to the year 2020, right? I mean, sure, there's certain things, but not like a Star Wars would be. So when a franchise turns 100, what will Star Wars be like? Everything has will it be gone? Will it be revamped? Will it be rebooted? That's really tough to say. And what will media be like? How will we... Oh my God, how old will I be? So 1977, 57 years from now, so... Oh my God, I'm going to be fucking dead. I'd be 90 years old. I'd be 90 years old to see the 100th birthday of Star Wars. All right, let's cross our fingers and toes, huh? Yeah, I think it might... Oh, man. Man, I don't know. If I had to guess... At some point, 57 years from now, there will be reboots and whatnot that are not associated whatsoever with the originals. God, that's really tough, man. And who's to say that 57 years from now, the way we watch movies right now is going to be the way people kind of digest movies in the future? I mean, with the possibilities of virtual reality and augmented reality and whatnot, the future of Star Wars and movies could be in a completely new direction than just sitting down and watching a movie. I'm sure, maybe we'll get some in the future, but Jacksonville will be underwater. Oh, give me one sec, guys. Give me one sec. My dryer is buzzing. I don't know why. One sec. Let me turn up the music. All right. I don't know what that's weird. There's like a setting. Maybe I turned it on later or earlier today. There's a setting on the dryer where you can like flip a switch, and when it's done, it'll buzz really, really loud. And the dryer's literally like right next to my daughter's room, and she's trying to go to sleep right now. So, yeah. Let's see. Cool. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, Christian, I would guess that, there's no question in my mind that at the 100-year anniversary of Star Wars in 2077, somebody will be making something Star Wars, right? Right? The 100-year anniversary? Could be wrong, but yeah. What will the world be like, Christian? Let's all speculate. But I appreciate that, man. And Squawg, Kite Man, hell yeah. JX, you got a buddy. You got a buddy in here, JX. Squawg, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, man. Kite Man. Oh, hell yeah. But I appreciate that, Squawg. Yeah, domestic house issues. That's how it goes. But thanks, Squawg, once again. And Caleb Kemp, did you really think I would leave the hyperdrive unguarded? I'm trying to pinpoint that. Okay. Is that... Let me see. Let me mute the desktop audio. That's General Grievous from the Clone Wars, right? Is that what it is? Is that what I'm looking at? Is that a meme? Is that something that I should, like, that's been circulating around the internet? Anyway, I appreciate that, Caleb. Did you really think that is a horrible Grievous? Did you really think I would leave the hyperdrive unguarded? Horrible, horrible. Just stop doing impressions. Okay, day. But I appreciate that, Caleb. And Jared Rose, thank you so much once again. Have you ever played Star Wars Bounty Hunter? So Jared, no, I never have. I think the main reason, let me look that up again. I've looked that up recently. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Okay, so it originally came out on the GameCube, the PS2. It looks like. Yep, GameCube and PS2 in 2002. I never owned a GameCube and I never owned a PlayStation. I never owned either of those consoles, Jared. So, no, I've never played it. A lot of people have brought it up on this channel, especially in these live streams, brought it up to me. It's a game that I've never played. I did have a PlayStation 3 for a few years. I don't know if it was available. Oh, it wasn't. November 2015. I didn't have my PlayStation 3 by then. I don't think. I think I'd sold it by then. I can't remember. But, so nope, I've never played it. I've heard good things. If it was available on the PC, it's probably a game that I would end up streaming. But yeah. In 2002, I was depending on the date, I was a sophomore in high school. So, oh, it looks like I would have been a junior in high school here at this November 19th release date. I wasn't playing very many games that year or the year after. If I was, it was pretty much Counter-Strike and Ultima Online. That was really about it, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Jared. And JX, yep, big dumb smile, Kite Man, hell yeah, there you go. Well, you and Squog need to talk about Kite Man. But I appreciate that, JX. Big dumb smile, Kite Man. Hell yeah. I want to know why you have such a fascination with this character, or if it's just kind of something fun to do. But yeah. Let's see. And Matthew Fernandez, thank you so much once again for the super chat and channel support. Also, I hope EA and by extension Disney Lucasfilm give more freedom to their developers after the success of Fallen Order, a lot less interference. Yeah, I completely agree. Matthew, I'm also, despite me being an EA game changer, I've also extensively talked about the license being kind of spread around to other developers and publishers. I love the idea of getting like independent studios and whatnot, or more independent studios in the mix, like have them make a real-time strategy game for the PC, right? I want when Disney acquired the franchise and then EA got the license to make Star Wars games, I never expected, you know, we have the Battlefront 2015, we have Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order. They're all fun, you know. Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order, that's the meat and potatoes of it, for sure. I expected them to be pumping them out left and right. I mean, like, I expected to have Star Wars game overload. It's been the opposite of that, at least comparatively to what we were used to in the past, right? So, no, I completely agree, Matt. You know, more freedom to make various games in different genres. I would love Star Wars RTS to come back. Not necessarily an Empire at War like remake or a Galactic Battlegrounds remake, but something new, right? Something new. Yeah, so I could not agree with you more there. And that being said, like I said, I want more hands to be in the pot, because there's a lot of other developers, other studios and whatnot that could have some interesting spin with what a Star Wars game could be, right? So, as a Star Wars fan, you want as many, games and whatnot to be worked on and coming out with various genres of games being messed with, and ideally that would be the scenario. But yeah, I completely agree, Matt. More freedom. More freedom. And Caleb Kemp, once again, thank you so much, man. That's what Grievous... yeah, here we go. Explanation. That's what Grievous said to Obi-Wan when Grievous said hello there to Obi-Wan. Anytime you don't reply with General Kenobi, I'll reply with that. All right. All right. That's what Grievous said to Obi-Wan when Grievous said hello there. Really? I don't remember. Okay. To Obi-Wan, anytime you don't reply with General Grievous, I'll reply with that. Sounds good, man. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Caleb. There's a whole world of like, I can quote the OT verbatim. That's my, that's what I grew up with. That is my, it's just in my blood. But when it comes to a lot of the prequel and Clone Wars stuff, I have to use Google, Caleb. I have to use Google. But I appreciate that, man. And IAI da Nugget. Okay. I'll just call you Nugget. How about that? Nugget! I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for the channel support this evening. I would like to see some more stories less focused on Jedi like Solo or Mandalorian. Jedi have been in the spotlight for too long. Execute Order 66. No, I'm in full agreement. I'm assuming you know this, but I've always said this, and I apologize. I'm kind of a broken record with this statement. But when I think of Star Wars, I don't really think of Jedi and the Force. Obviously, they're a part of it, and I love that stuff too. But when I think of Star Wars, I do think of kind of the Han Solo smuggler. I think of bounty hunters. I think of that seedy underbelly of Star Wars. That, to me, is kind of what I think of when I think of Star Wars. And that being said, I would love more movies and games and whatnot, especially games. I want some kind of like bounty hunter game. I want something like that isn't focused solely on the Jedi. I don't know if I'm in the minority when it comes to that opinion or not. We've had a lot of Jedi stuff, and I would love for other avenues to be explored with characters that aren't I want shows that have nothing to do with the Force, that never introduce the Force, shows that never introduce the Jedi, whatnot. I think it would be really interesting to kind of explore that world without kind of jumping into Jedi and Force and Sith and stuff like that. But no, I completely agree. I completely agree. Solo didn't do much for me. It's fun. The more I watch it, the more I like it, the more I enjoy it. Rogue One didn't really do anything for me. That was pretty light on all that stuff, right? You had Chirrut Imwe, who was my favorite character actually in Rogue One. Other than that, it was kind of like campfire stories about the Force, pretty much, right? In a way. So yeah, more stuff like that would be kind of the bread and butter of what I like about Star Wars, and I definitely would not poo-poo the idea of them kind of exploring that avenue more. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. And Hoob, thank you so much. Are you planning on watching Rebels after finishing the Clone Wars? Also been playing a lot of Skyrim lately, and I just keep thinking, if only this was Star Wars. Yeah, Hoob, for sure. So yeah, when I finish the Clone Wars, which I will be finishing it, my plan, well, I'll tell you guys my plan in a second, but so yeah, after the Clone Wars, after season 7 of the Clone Wars, Hoob, I plan on, well, actually directly after season 7 of the Clone Wars, my plan is to watch the 2003 animated Clone Wars short series, or whatever you want to call it. That's kind of my plan, to watch that, make a video on that, and discuss that a little bit. And then after that, I'll probably jump into Rebels, and then I'll finish Resistance. But let's be honest, by the time I finish Rebels, it's probably going to be time for Mandalorian. So I'm a slow mover, as you guys know, with a lot of this stuff, especially now having a kid. If I'm watching something, it's usually something my daughter would want to watch, or my daughter's in bed and it's something that me and my wife both want to watch, right? We're watching Mindhunter right now. We have 2 episodes left until season 2's done. And kind of sad that that show's going to... I don't really know what's going on with that show, but we don't want to stop watching it. We're loving it. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's my plan, Hoob. And so, will I have enough time? Yes. We're going out of town. So season 7 starts on the 22nd, right? Is that? Am I correct in saying that, or is it the 21st? It's around there. So we'll be out of town from the 12th to the 17th. My plan over this weekend is to watch like a few episodes, and what I'm going to be doing moving forward until season 7 comes out is I'm just going to be watching the episodes. I'm going to put one giant video out that says I finished the Clone Wars, just for time management, you know, and it'll probably be a pretty long video. I'll talk about each arc and what I thought of it.
Star Wars
one sec.
like Marvel/DC Comics, where there will be a stop where it's like 197620XX first age, then another age where new continuity will happen with basic premise, new ideas.
Probably, Larry. Probably. Give me 1 sec, man. Give me 1 sec. Or many minutes. I'm a long-winded dude. I apologize. So yeah, that's my plan, is to just binge watch the hell out of the Clone Wars, catch up. I think I have like 19 episodes left. That is doable in the next 2 weeks. And just put out one video saying I finished the Clone Wars. And then we can watch season 7 together, which will be a weird feeling, because I've been watching all this stuff way after you guys have already finished it, right? So it'll be a neat experience for sure. But I appreciate that, Hoop. And Vince, feel like I never talk Star Wars on here anymore. It's good, man. You need to break it up for sure. Brought up Chris Reeve's Superman a few streams ago, so I had to rewatch and think this crazy world is in dire need of fun Superman again. I could not agree more. Not because of the world, just because I want it. For completely selfish reasons. I love, and you know this, Vince, Superman is really the only superhero that I was heavily invested in as a kid. I love Boy Scouty, do-gooder, attaboy, saving kittens from trees, saving people out of burning buildings, Superman. I love Superman when he's just being a good dude. That's fun to me, you know. This guy with unlimited, he's a god. He's a god among men. And he's just helping the public. You know, and fighting bad guys, obviously. But I love my Superman with a little bit of cheese. There's nothing wrong with Superman and cheese. That charm of Superman has always really appealed to me. And I think that's why a lot of the modern DC Superman stuff has never appealed to me. It's just, it's you know, I understand a lot of people like it, but like you, I grew up watching Chris Reeve's Superman. I grew up reading, you know, I still have like the giant omnibus, original Superman comics. That's kind of what I, you know, grew up with Superman being. So I agree. I want a lighthearted, fun, charming, cheesy Superman movie. That's what I actually like. Superman Returns. It kind of had that same feel to me. I like Superman Returns more than Man of Steel for that reason alone. But yeah, give me some cheesy Superman. I'll buy a ticket. I'll be there. IMAX. Make it happen. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. And Levi Gutierrez, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. Levi says Denis Villeneuve. Is that how you pronounce it? I believe I've looked this. I've Googled his name and pronunciation Many times. Many times. So I have seen I've seen what he did. Prisoners. I've seen that. He did Arrival. I've seen that. He did Sicario. I've seen that. He did the new Blade Runner. I've seen that. Let me go to his IMDb. I've seen, what's Enemy? Never seen Enemy. So yeah, that looks like everything of his that I have seen. So yeah, I've seen Blade Runner 2049. I've seen Arrival, Sicario, and Prisoners. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, cool. So I'm up. Yeah, absolutely. I would be 100% for him making a Star Wars movie. No question about it. And the thing is, I'm not opposed to anyone making a Star Wars movie. Yes, his would be really interesting. I've liked all those movies that I've listed that I've seen. And for him to make a Star Wars movie would definitely be an interesting spin on what a Star Wars movie could be. Something like that is really intriguing to me, Levi, because, you know, everybody always asks the question, like, what makes a Star Wars movie good? What does Star Wars have to feel like? You know, I kind of discard that question, to tell you the truth, because as I said in my most recent, I was a guest on the podcast Across the Galaxy. If you guys haven't heard that, just Google Across the Galaxy podcast. I think I'm the latest episode. Give it a listen. I had a lot of fun on there. But I said I want Star Wars to get weird, you know, and meaning I don't want Star Wars to get kind of hamstrung and needing to feel tonally lockstep with what came before. And I think a director like him would put an interesting spin on what a Star Wars movie could be, what a Star Wars movie could feel like. So, no, I'm in complete agreement, Levi. Shit, if you named another director, I would be saying the same exact thing. You know, I've always said I would love a Danny Boyle Star Wars movie, and that's kind of in line with Denis Villeneuve, right? Not necessarily the directorial style, but a completely different directorial style than what we were really used to with Star Wars for the most part, you know. But yeah, I completely agree, Levi, and I would love that for sure. But yeah, I appreciate that channel support this evening, man. And Geo Mew, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. I love this statement. Geo says, or Geo, I apologize. One of those has to be right? Geo or Geo? We'll see. I'm sure you'll correct me. And you should. I want a Star Wars game like Star Fox or Ace Combat. Could not agree more. I would. Yeah, man. I want more Star Wars games, and I would love a flight simulator. Something like Ace Combat and Star Fox. Yes, absolutely. Something like. Did you guys ever play ATF? ATF Flight Simulator. Yeah. Jane's ATF Advanced Tactical Fighters. This came out in 1996. Why am I bringing this up? Just because it's one of the first flight sims that I ever played. but yeah, I would love that. Star Fox would be like a Star Fox style, kind of almost Star Wars flight sim shooter. Because that's kind of what Star Fox is. It's kind of on rails, right? Boss fights are often big environments, but something like that would be awesome. I would love that. Yeah, there's so many that's why I've always said I would love for the Star Wars video game license to kind of be peppered around to other developers and publishers and stuff like that, because you could, there's endless possibilities of the types of games you could make, and we would all play them, right? So, yeah, I would love that. Absolutely. You know, we have Rogue Squadron. We have the even older Star Wars flight sims like X-Wing and TIE Fighter and X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. But yeah, I think it's time for a new one, right? Because my favorite spaceship in the entire Star Wars saga is a run-of-the-mill workhorse X-Wing. And once again, I want to pilot one in a solely flight simulator Star Wars game. And it would be awesome if that came out in like 10 years when virtual reality is affordable for the average consumer. Because right now, I'm not paying whatever it is right now for it's more than a console.
Also, I feel
Damn
that
it.
there
Oh,
isn't
one
more
sec.
Ryu games like previous LucasArts that while there was successful ones like Battlefront and KOTOR, most of them were mixed and didn't return back economic success.
Larry Banks, once again, man, thank you so much for the channel support. Give me one sec. Looks like, so I got Gio, William. Oh, what's up, Will? TechWise, Caleb Kemp, and Larry Banks. So yeah, Gio, I'm with you. And I want that VR experience. Maybe in 10 years when it's like $100. And then we can all play it, right? The price of entry right now for all that stuff is just too much. Too much. But it's like any other technology, right? I mean, you can buy a 4K 60-inch TV now for like, what? Like $300 or $400? It'll be like that in the future with VR too, so, yeah. The one thing that never goes down in price are like computer monitors. Top-of-the-line computer monitors are still as much as some of those 60-inch 4K TVs. Is crazy. I've been in the market for a... Dude, I'm going to just... Allow me to sidetrack for a couple minutes here. I've been in the market for a new monitor for like 4 years. PC monitor. Let's see. I'm on Newegg. All right. So I want a 27-inch, and I want it to be like 1 millisecond. I don't need 4K. Let's see, 27-inch. And I want the refresh rate to be super high. Let's go with 240. Apply. Okay. All right, so I'm looking at a... Okay, goodness gracious. I can't select the size. Oh, here, 27 to 29-inch. Let's see. Let's just out of curiosity. 0 items found. How is that possible? Let's go 144 hertz. Okay. ViewSonic 27-inch 1440p 2K 1 millisecond, which this is the perfect monitor that I would want right now. It's almost $350. That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's kind of, yeah. Maybe in 10 years. Anyway. That was for my own investigation. It's been a long time since I've looked up computer monitor prices, but yeah. Anyway. And William Aguilar, thank you so much, man. I hope you're still here. I hope you're doing well. William says, hey, buddy. Looks like you'll be cutting it close with for Clone Wars Season 7. Yeah, no kidding. My 3D Spaceship Combat board game is on track for a launch on Kickstarter in June. Oh, nice, man. That's way sooner than I was expecting. That's awesome. Congratulations. If anybody, if you want to toss the name of it, and actually, let me go to my history. I apologize, I'm blanking on the name of it. Let's see. I'm doing a quick. Let's see, Kickstarter. No device found. I have not cleared my browsing history in probably 4 years. Why isn't that working? Let's type your name. Nothing. Weird. But oh, nice, you're here. Cool. Yeah, toss the name in the chat, and I'll have everybody check it out for sure. It looks pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm definitely cutting it close, Will. I'm not worried about it though. I don't know if you heard me earlier. My plan right now is to, like, we're going out of town next week, but I have time to watch. I think I have like 19 episodes left or something like that. And my plan is to just binge watch the hell out of them without making a video. Without making a video. So, Yeah, that's kind of my goal. Is I'm gonna watch the rest of the arcs. Boom, 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 boom. Sit down, watch like 4 episodes at a time. Kick it into gear. And then when I'm done with all the episodes, I'm literally going to make a video that's just called I Finished the Clone Wars. And I'll just talk about those arcs and my overall thoughts on the series. And I'm hoping to get that out like a day or two before season 7 premieres. So I got time. I'm not too worried about it. It's that particular video is going to be way different than the past Clone Wars videos that I've done. But that's out of necessity, right? That being said, when we get into season 7, my episode videos will be kind of exactly like the videos that you've been used to, So anyway, Galactic Factions is not on Kickstarter yet. Where did I see? Maybe did you send like pictures and stuff like that? Did you send me like a link to an image at one point? I can picture what it looked like. The layers, the like space coordinates of it all. But yeah, it looks cool. Definitely when you get it up on Kickstarter, Will, let me know and I'll blast it out. Feel free to tweet it to me and I'll give it a good retweet because it definitely looks promising. Looks like a really cool idea for a board game for sure. And maybe it'll get me into playing some board games, right? But I appreciate that, man. And for those of you who have ever been curious why HelloGreedo started watching the Clone Wars, you can thank Will for that. Oh, that's right, Will, in Discord. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you can thank Will for pushing me to watch the Clone Wars. I started this channel in 2011, and in the early days of the channel, the comment sections to all of my videos were so negative towards the prequels and the Clone Wars, and I never really had a desire to dive into the Clone Wars, and it just kind of sat there, and I never thought about it. And over the years of this channel's existence, that negative comment section started turning very positive towards the Clone Wars. It was really interesting to see. And Will kind of told me about a chronological order. He actually created a list of like primary episodes that you kind of need to see. There's a handful of episodes that he left off that he thought was filler. And knowing this and kind of having a way to watch the episodes with arcs in mind, that would be, that's kind of the reason I jumped into it. So you can thank Will for all my stupid videos. But I appreciate that, man. If you make a video about it, that would be awesome in the future. Yeah, I would definitely throw it into like a video or two for sure. Like at the tail end, maybe during the subscribe scene, or I would love to help out and do something like that. I don't know if I'd make an entire video about it, but I would love to kind of pepper it into certain videos if you send me the Kickstarter and what you would want me to say at the end of a subscribe now outro thing. I'd love to plug it. But yeah, man, once again, I appreciate you pushing my stupid old ass into watching a really fun show. And TechWise08, thank you so much for the channel support as well. Would you like to see a movie about Vader, Vader's early years? Not particularly, Tech. We've had the prequels, we've seen Anakin, we've had the original trilogy, we've seen Vader. Vader was in Rogue One. We've had a lot of Vader comics. Vader appears in Jedi Fallen Order. Spoiler alert. Anakin is in the Clone Wars. Rebels and Vader has. We have a lot of Vader, right? I personally, obviously, I would watch it if they made a Star Wars movie about Vader in the early years. I would watch it. Not my first choice for sure, because I'm kind of the mindset where I want Star Wars to really, really begin to look outside of the familiar. To me, that's where things get interesting, right? I want Star Wars to look beyond what we already know and what we're already familiar with. Especially with a character like Vader who has so much content surrounding him, right? So, for me, the idea of a movie like that, I would rather the effort and go towards something, a movie or a show or something like that, about a character, about situations and scenarios that we've never heard of before. That is kind of the bread and butter of where I want Star Wars to go in the future, you know. But I appreciate that tech-wise. And Caleb Kemp, Larry Banks, and Vince Wynn, I appreciate the patience, guys. And Caleb Kemp says, my idea for future of Star Wars. Rey has raised a new Jedi Order, but unlike before, where they were public, this time they're a secret society of ordinary people, just good people doing good things. I actually kind of like that. It's not necessarily... I at first I was going to kind of disagree with you, but that sounds like it's not a rehash of what came before. It's not building a new generation of Jedi to create a new Jedi Order that is dogmatic, right? But a secret society, I don't know, what are we talking? Are we talking X-Men here? A secret society of ordinary people. Just good people doing good things. Yeah, that would be fun. No lists, right? No lists of Force-sensitive kids. No lists of members. Just people that have like a secret handshake, right? But, no, I dig that idea. I really like that idea. And it doesn't have to have a name to it, right? Just kind of spoken in hushed tones across the galaxy. But no, I dig that idea. Humble, no hubris, no ego. Just good people doing good things. I dig it. But yeah, I appreciate that, Caleb. And Larry Banks, thank you so much on two fronts here. I'm going to read both of them in succession. I think Larry Banks says, I think that Star Wars will be like Marvel/DC Comics, where there will be a stop where it's like 1976 to 2000 something, first age. Then another age where new continuity will happen with basic premise, new ideas. Also, I feel that there isn't more EU games like previous LucasArts, that while there was successful ones like Battlefront and KOTOR, most of them were mixed and don't return back economic success. No, I could absolutely... We were talking about where do we see Star Wars in the year 2077 on its 100th birthday, right? I could absolutely see that happening. In the distant future, when things aren't... in kind of like, 50 years from now, are there going to be canon hounds who are like, this is canon, this cannot... Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a lot different. Maybe it'll be kind of like, in a way, you said Marvel and DC. Maybe it could also be like Star Trek, where there is a new timeline, right? And the Kelvin timeline, and, as much as people dislike that, and I dislike a lot of the stuff that comes out of it, I don't mind it being kind of a sidestep of what came before. I don't mind that at all. So I could see absolutely that being the case in the distant future. A way to kind of revitalize things and having, like you said, the first age. It makes sense. And Marvel and DC is kind of a good example of that working in certain respects. But yeah, new continuity, new canon. I could absolutely see that being the case in the future. Absolutely. And you mentioned EU games. Dude, I missed so many Star Wars games in the early 2000s to like there was like 10, 15 years where so many Star Wars games passed me by, mainly because I wasn't much of a console gamer at all. I'm a PC gamer, and most of the time when I played games, it was with my friends, multiplayer. And a lot of games, like Bounty Hunter, for example, I didn't have a GameCube, I didn't have a PS2. And then you have games like Republic Commando. That completely passed me by. I never played that. So, You know, there was a lot of Star Wars games. Were they all hits? Absolutely not. But at least there was some variety in there, right? You had Empire at War, you had Galactic Battlegrounds. That kind of stuff is what appeals to me, the variety of it. So in certain respects, I do miss kind of the chaotic nature of a lot of Star Wars games and how frequently they came out and how different they were. That being said, that's a very difficult business model to follow nowadays. I personally think so. Games are expensive as hell to make. I think more so nowadays than they used to be. People expect polished products and people expect live updates, and it's just a different world, right? So when there is a game that is going to be made, probably, you know, there's I don't know, it's a completely different effort nowadays than it used to be. So you kind of have to pool all your resources and put it into one basket, opposed to kind of ping-ponging to various ideas and putting your eggs in a lot of baskets, if that makes sense. But yeah, Larry. I'm ready for more Star Wars games for sure. That says the spoiled son of a bitch who just got Jedi Fallen Order, right? But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Take a sip of the old cold coffee now. But yeah, I appreciate that, Larry. And Vince Wynn, thank you so much for the super chat channel support this evening as well, man. I think Anakin was almost what the Jedi should be, in the middle of light and dark. Think the Order really effed him up with their no love tomfoolery. Yeah, it's like religious dogma, right? My way or the highway. Yeah, that's why a lot of the stuff that Yoda says in the prequels, talking about, you know, don't mourn for those who pass on and don't fear things that you could lose, or I can't remember the exact quotes, never sat well with me because it is very dogmatic. Which is definitely one of the reasons why I think the entire Order fell and things went to shit. But yeah, I agree. Anakin, was he a bad seed? Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure. But he was pushed to the edge by a system that kind of failed who he was. And he was easily manipulated because of that, right? Easily manipulated because of the way things were around him, and the Order and the organization that he was in couldn't kind of evolve with him, I suppose. And I can't imagine that he's the only person in the Jedi Order that ever felt this way, right? I can't imagine. But yeah, Vince. That's actually, how could I spin that into a video? I like where your head's at, and that's a fun topic of conversation. I'm gonna create a folder real quick, just so I don't forget where my head's at right now. Okay. Anakin. Okay, cool. I named the folder 908 Anakin. Evil, organization failing him, no love, dogma. I'll get the gist when I wake up in the morning and start writing. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. And A3 coming in with the final super chat and channel support before I jet and watch some Mindhunter. A3 says, while I do like 2/3 of the sequel trilogy, I definitely think they need to plan things out more. Not a 20+ movie plan like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but at least the trilogies. Yeah, A3, I'm with you. I like 2/3 of the sequel trilogy as well. Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Last Jedi is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. It lands on the fourth spot of my list. But I felt like there was a cohesion between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. That felt like a continuation. That felt like a cohesive continuation. With The Rise of Skywalker, and I don't know which ones the 2/3 that you're speaking of. I don't necessarily know which ones you're talking about that you like. What's the outlier? But when it got to The Rise of Skywalker, it did not feel like a cohesive continuation. It kind of felt like a very, very tight turn in another direction. And that's when I kind of sat back and I was like, it just didn't. It felt like they had a plan before this, and now it kind of just doesn't feel very cohesive. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Obviously, we see all the Duel of the Fates stuff leaking out, which was all the stuff that I read and all the concept art and whatnot. That did feel like more of a cohesive continuation than what we got in The Rise of Skywalker, right? So maybe the plan was there, and as we know, Colin Trevorrow was taken away, and creative differences and all that jazz. And then J.J. Abrams came on board, rather. And maybe the plan changed. So maybe that's why it just didn't feel as cohesive, right? So, no, same as you, I like TFA and TLJ. Okay, gotcha. Nice. A call from an 800 number at 8:45 in the evening. Telemarketer. Weird. Okay. Alright. Weird. Why would they call me? It's a mortgage thing. Why would they call me? Automated nonsense. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, definitely more planning. I don't know if we need a conductor at the head of the orchestra to kind of lay things out before, because I do have a kind of a deep-seated philosophical creativity belief, where if you put somebody in the director's chair, the writer's chair, I want them to have absolute autonomy. I do not want them to kind of be hamstrung with external ideas, if that makes sense. And that's just a deep-seated philosophical concept that I just can't break. Even with the need or the perceived need of a plan, But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, A3. And Larry Banks and Caleb Kemp, thank you guys so much. Larry Banks says, off topic, but are you going to see the new Dune movie when it comes out? And have you read the books or know it of it beforehand? I own the first book. And I've had that book since I was a kid. And it's one of those books that's always sat on my shelf and I've never read it. That being said, Larry, I have a Kindle now, and it's been one of those books that I've been wanting to buy on the Kindle for a very long time. In fact, let me look it up. Let me see how much it is. Dune book Kindle. Let's see. So okay, it's $10. So I've never read it. I'm like the most basic familiar with it. I own the movie. I remember watching the movie once. I don't really remember it. That was a long time ago too. It's not a franchise or a book or a movie that I've ever really been that into. That being said, Denis Villeneuve is making it. I've liked the movies that he's made before. He feels like a pretty good fit. And I think, I'll definitely see it when it comes out. So no, I have like a very, very, very limited peripheral knowledge of Dune. It's not something that I've ever really been that familiar with, to tell you the truth. But so yeah. Maybe I'll pick it up on my Kindle. We're going out of town for a week, and maybe that will be my like bedtime book, But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Larry. And Caleb Kemp coming in with the final super chat. and channel support. Caleb says, happy to report my video is done, releasing tomorrow. Hopefully, LOL. Yeah, don't rush it if you're saying hopefully. But that's cool, man. That's exciting. It's very exciting to kind of upload your first video, put yourself out there for the first time, make something creatively on your own. And it's a very, I don't know, it's an awesome feeling. There's no middleman. You're making the thing that you want to make. So when it's done, tweet it at me. I definitely want to see it. And if you don't feel like it's done and if you want to keep working on it, no pressure. Be happy with it. That's the most important thing, right? Be happy with it. Be happy with the video that you put out. And if it releases tomorrow, and if you feel it's ready for the world to see, feel free to shoot it my way on Twitter. I'll give it a watch. But I appreciate that, man. So, all right. So, all right, guys. I'm going to jet. That was an hour and 30 minutes of what was going to be an hour-long stream. I appreciate the ever-living hell out of everybody who supported the channel this evening. I've really enjoyed doing these kind of topic of conversation streams. I used to name my streams like poop and stupid crap like that, or just like Star Wars talk. But having a relatively, I don't know, cohesive topic of conversation in these streams has been a lot of fun. A lot of interesting ideas, a lot of things that I heavily agree with and disagree with, direction-wise. So I love it. I love it. These have been a lot of fun. So, if you guys have any topics of conversation that you think would be interesting for a stream topic, tweet them to me. That's the best way to get a hold of me because I don't really check much else, and I barely check Twitter. I check Twitter maybe once or twice a day, but that is probably the best way to get a hold of me. If you have an idea for a topic of conversation, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody that dropped in and said hello, everybody that supported the channel this evening. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, videos won't be coming out until Wednesday of next week, maybe. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is probably my goal. I'm going to be putting videos out. I'm going to be out of town, so I'm scheduling videos for when I'm out of town just to have something on the channel, so... Oh, Larry Banks coming in with the final super chat and channel support of the stream. Mr. Larry says, where did it go? Mr. Larry says, last one for me. My overall opinion on The Rise of Skywalker is that while I enjoy it, there were problems I share with you and give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I did. Oh, man. I definitely disliked it more than I liked it. I think the problems that I have with it are so big that it's hard for me to overlook the fact that, Palpatine is back, which is probably my main problem with it. It's very unimaginative to me, which I'm sure you since you said that, you probably share the same sentiment, right? The things that I really did enjoy was the relationship between Rey and Kylo. That was the strongest thing in the entire movie. I think that was carried over pretty well from the relationship in The Last Jedi that I liked a lot in that movie too. That's one of the most the strongest and most interesting things in The Last Jedi too, that relationship. So how do I rank it? What do I give it? A 5, 6? That's probably in that ballpark for me as well. And 5 or 6, yeah, probably. But I'm excited to eventually get it to watch at home. I want to sit down and watch it again, when on my couch. I have a feeling, with The Force Awakens, with The Last Jedi, and with Solo, the more I watch those movies, the more I like them. I liked The Last Jedi and I liked The Force Awakens from the jump. I was a little wishy-washy with certain things in the Last Jedi, but over the years and after The Rise of Skywalker, I like it even more now. And it's one of those movies that I watch and I like it more with each subsequent viewing. Solo is kind of the same way. I didn't really like it at first, but when I watch it more, it's just kind of a fun romp, and I enjoy it. Rogue One, the more I watch it, the more I dislike it, and The Rise of Skywalker, I kind of have a feeling that the more I watch it, the more I'll dislike it as well, but we shall see. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. So, I'm gonna jet. It's time to watch some Mindhunter and have some popcorn. But, yeah, I appreciate everybody hanging out. It is time for me to kick the tires and light the fires on watching some Clone Wars and getting that done before Season 7 pops up. And it'll happen without question. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, guys. And I will probably see you guys tomorrow night for a live stream as well. One final super chat coming in from our friend Oscar Rodriguez. Oscar, thank you so much for the support this evening. Oscar says, if you're interested in free 3D animation and making your own cartoons, check out blender.org. I'm not a sponsor, but I've been using it and love it. Blender.org. So Blender.org. Never heard of it. Let me see real quick. Blender, let's see. I wonder if this is like Maya. Software. It's a free open source program. Interesting. I've never heard of this, Oscar. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. And I'm sure, people in the chat would be interested in this as well. So, Oscar, I used to model 3D characters and 3D environments in Maya. That's kind of what I went to school for a year down in Orlando before I screwed up and dropped out and went to the military. Silliness. But I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed creating... I liked making characters, but I really liked making environments, and the thing that I loved the most was texturing characters and environments. I loved texturing, man. I used to go out with my camera and take pictures of walls and grass and whatever textures that I could find in the real world, and then apply them to my either my character models or my 3D environments. I loved texturing because, I've always had a very I'm knowledgeable in Photoshop. I've been using that since I was like 11 or 12 years old, and it just kind of fits so well with my interest in that, and also kind of modeling 3D characters and whatnot. So, yeah, I've never heard of that. I'll have to check that out. Maybe there's something that I can do with the channel. I'm sure you could probably download models that are already created in Blender, right? People kind of sharing models that they've created. So I'm sure I could find some Star Wars ones. That might be kind of fun. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. All right, guys. Mindhunter time. Time to watch a show about serial killers and all that crap. It's supposed to storm really bad tonight, I think. Weather, let's see. Tornado. Oh, Jesus. I'm under a tornado watch right now. Okay. Tornado watch remains valid until midnight tonight for the following areas. Okay. All right. Okie dokie. All right. Well, hopefully everything's okay. We need to pick a spot in the new house where we would go if a tornado happens. I know where it is. Master bedroom closet. That's where the tornado happens. But, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. To everybody who supported the channel, sending over some super chats this evening, and bringing up some interesting topics of conversation. I appreciate the hell out of that channel support. The channel survives because of that support. So with all that being said, have a fantastic rest of your night. Have a fantastic rest of your morning. Have a fantastic rest of your afternoon wherever you are on this planet that we call Earth. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Let's end it with a upbeat, fun song here called Ice Cream. All right, cool, guys. See ya.